Welcome everyone to our Youth Services Center Partnership Grant Information Session. Thank you all 51 of you who are here on the call today. It is incredibly inspiring to see so many nonprofits and so many dynamic missions in the meeting. My name is Gad Niragira, the Community Engagement Program Officer at your Community Foundation. I'm joined today by Ramona Dallum, our Vice President of Community Engagement, and Donna Brown, our Senior Associate. Hi, Donna and Ramona. And I'm fortunate enough to be in partnership with each of you for our kids as your contact for this opportunity. And again, thank you all for what you do for our kiddos, and I can't wait to support your work. All right, well, we are taking you back to school with today's agenda. We're going to answer the 5 W's and 1 H of this opportunity. We're going to talk about why and how, why we're partnering with FRYSC on this opportunity, that's Family Resource and Youth Service Centers, how we'll select and evaluate our recipients, who is eligible, what this grant will seek to do, where our kids, where the kids we hope to reach live and attend schools, and also we're going to be sure to give you all space to ask any questions that you may have. Ramona and I are here again to field any questions. That said, let's get started. Why and how? This foundation has adopted trust-based philanthropy values and practices to guide our grant making. And a core tenet of trust-based philanthropy is recognizing that our work and impact is strengthened when it is informed by those in community. We are incredibly proud and excited to partner with the Committee of Middle and High School Youth Services Centers coordinators and other education stakeholders who will be tasked with reviewing and selecting the awardees. These coordinators are on the ground every day solving problems and overcoming barriers for our kids, and I cannot thank them enough for their partnership on this opportunity. Alongside their expertise, we'll also have on our committee a parent whose student has relied on YSC services, a former student, and a person with deep knowledge of JCPS, its education achievement goals. You may have already taken a look at our 5-question application. We made it easy as possible for you all. These are the 5 questions here on the rubric. And once you've completed the 5 questions, this committee will take your questions and grade them using this rubric. It's a bit hard to read, but it's also attached in the process document on our website. Those applications with strong and exemplary scores, strong is 7 to 8 points, exemplary is 9 to 10 points, will then be ranked choice selected by the committee, and we'll have our recipients. The evaluation is comparably as simple. It will consist of at least 1 conversation with me in 6 months, and after 1 year of funding, recipients will be asked to submit a report answering the following 5 questions. What were the successes of your organization after receiving funding? What challenges were encountered and how did you address them? How did this funding lead to changes in investments or attract additional fundings from public or private funding streams? What did you learn from this project? How did you share your learning from this project or initiative with the broader community to achieve greater impact? Who can apply? If you are a nonprofit organization with 501c3 or fiscal sponsorship status who has partnered with a youth services center in the following zip code: 40202, 40203, 08, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, or 58, you are encouraged to apply. For those of you who might not be familiar, this is, the West End neighborhoods, downtown, Smoketown, Newburgh, South End, etc. And we had listed in the process document a list of schools who are over 70% disadvantaged by JCPS's metrics, but any organization whose work has collaborated with YSCs in these zip codes are encouraged to apply. What is this grant? This grant will provide nonprofits who partners with YSCs in various capacities with $20,000. And we all love these words, unrestricted operating support. This can go towards staffing, transportation, professional development, supplies, or anything else you may need to continue your work delivering for our kiddos, and support YSCs as they work to improve attendance, decrease behavior issues, increase academic support, improve physical, mental health, and improve parent relations. These dollars will be rewarded directly to the nonprofit and does not have to be used for any particular program. This opportunity opened on March the 1st, and it will close on April 19th. Soon afterwards, our staff will review and conduct due diligence on the submissions. We will then forward applications to a committee of YSC coordinators from economically disadvantaged schools for their review. The committee will then convene to rank choice select the recipients. Successful applicants will be notified and receive a grant agreement. Once signed, funds will be dispersed within a 2-week period via check. And I do want to reiterate, the focus of this grant is to reach students who live in the following zip codes. And I did receive a very great question from a nonprofit who works with the school in 40219, which was a quarter mile away from the targeted 40218 zip code. The school was on the economically disadvantaged list, as you know, using JCPS's metric. And very basic due diligence would attest that a large portion of students who attend that school live in 40218. So that nonprofit and other nonprofits in similar situations would be encouraged to apply. Question segment. And thank you all for coming. I am, like I said, Gadnir Aguirre. I'm here with Ramona Dallum, our VP of Community Engagement. We would love to field any questions you may have.
Hey, Gad, the youth service centers, aren't they for middle and high school? So we might want to.
Yes, we are targeting middle and high school students for this opportunity. The family resource centers are elementaries, youth service centers are middle and high. That's who we're targeting this cycle. Are there any other questions? I can't really see on my field of view.
Hang on, I think they're coming through.
All right.
Okay, so the question is asked, who are the FRYSC?
FRYSC, yes, those are Family Resource and Youth Service Center coordinators. There's one in each school. I am a product of their hard work and diligence in helping kids overcome those barriers to learning. Family Resource Centers are those in elementary schools. Youth Service Centers are those in middle and high schools. We're going to convene a group of middle and high school Youth Service Center coordinators in this cycle who are from disadvantaged schools. And we're going to convene this committee to help us select our nonprofits.
And Gad, I also would like to, I'm sorry, this is Ramona Dallum. I'm the Vice President of Community Engagement here at CFL. Thank you all for being on the call. As Gad mentioned earlier, one of our reasons for partnering with the youth service centers is because those service centers know who's working closely with the students in their schools. And so we are depending on them, as well as one of their, a parent who has a child that's been served by a youth service center and a former student themselves, because they are the ones who would best know who are the nonprofits who are successfully helping them to realize their educational goals. So for that reason, we chose to partner with them to help in the selection, because we as a foundation, we're not in this work every day, but our youth service center coordinators, those parents and students themselves are. So I think the key to this process is that you should already have an established relationship with a JCPS middle or high school, because if you have that relationship, they'll be able to speak to your work.
Brenda wants to know how many grants we're going to be awarded.
6 grants of $20,000, Brenda.
And Nicole, I'm going to try to allow your microphone so you can ask a question.
Thank you. I'm trying to type as I go. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out like how have all the schools been notified in terms of FRYSCs, in terms of like middle schools and high schools in those zip codes? Have they all been notified of the grant and of the process?
Yes, they all have been notified. I've been in, constant communication with the youth service centers, and I've also let them know to implore them to reach out to any nonprofits in their networks as well to apply for this opportunity.
Okay, one more question, then I'm done. So in terms of like voting, like I know once people apply, are you going to like send that list out to like all the FRYSCs and they just kind of pick which ones they want? Would you recommend like people who work with these schools kind of say, hey, I'm applying for this grant. Could you, keep your eye out for it? I reached out to some FRYSCs and they was kind of, some of the schools was unaware. I mean, maybe it may not fall in the zip code, but they was kind of unaware of the grant. So would you recommend organizations that work directly with schools kind of like, reach out to the FRYSCs and say, hey, be on the lookout for this particular grant application?
It won't be ranked choice selected by all the FRYSCs. We're going to convene a group of about 5 or 6 FRYSCs, and as Ramona had reiterated, as well as a parent and a student who's relied on these programs, as well as a JCPS education expert, they will be our committee who will rank choice select the nonprofits. But it certainly would not hurt for you to reach out to the youth service center coordinator that you have worked with and maybe gain some more insight. I'm also going to, the process document is on our website as well if they're needing any more information.
And Nicole, I would want to follow up with that just a little bit. The key tool that people are going to use to score the applications is that rubric that Gad had up on the first slide. That is in the process document that you can find online. And the applications that are going to be the strongest are the ones that fall into the categories, I think, of exemplary, and I forget what the other term was.
Strong and exemplary.
Strong and exemplary. Those 2 categories in the rubric list what makes a response strong, what makes it exemplary. And so I would recommend that either you have someone on your board, on your committee, someone that you worked with in the past, to actually read your responses and score them themselves using that rubric. Maybe have 2 or 3 people that you know who are familiar with your work read it before you submit your responses, and then they can give you some insight on how you might be able to improve that response. Just like all of you nonprofit leaders are working really hard every day, I know our youth service center coordinators are really trying to intentionally focus on serving the youth. And I think reaching out to them to advocate for yourself in this grant process could take them away from doing the work of serving youth. So I think the best way to improve your application response is already having an established relationship with one of those youth service centers and having a few other trusted allies to actually review your responses before you submit them.
Mm-hmm. And again, this rubric is an appendix on that process document on our website.
And we have a bunch of questions.
Ready for 'em.
Is working with 21st Century Learning Centers included? We work with Newcomer Academy through their CLC.
Does that, if the Newcomer Academy that you work with services students within those zip codes. And it's very likely that youth service center coordinators know of your work, and parents, others, the students know of your work, and educators know of your work, then it's very likely that your application would be considered. But I would say go be guided by the zip codes first.
And knowing, Newcomer Academy, I do imagine a lot of their students are from these zip codes. So yes, whoever asked the question, I would go ahead and throw that application in.
Must you already be working with a youth service center? And if so, how long, or are new initiatives eligible?
You would have already had an active collaboration with youth service centers to apply for this. A collaboration could be anything from being that, being an advisor to being to having an MOA signed with them. So, collaboration could mean many things, but yes, a collaboration should be, it should be a pre-existing partnership.
Can you apply to serve more than one school?
Go ahead, Ramona.
We want to reiterate that you are not applying to serve a school. You are applying to receive dollars to further your program. But one of the things that will help your application go further is if you already have an established relationship with the youth service center, because that means you're already working with those schools, or you're in conversation with youth service centers to establish a relationship with them. These dollars are not for programs, because in order for you to run a program through JCPS, you have to have approval from principals already. You also have to follow a lot of other, have a lot of other decisions made before you can go into a JCPS school. So one of the ways for us to really support the nonprofits who are working with the schools was not to focus so much on programs you're offering, but who you are as an organization and the already established and emerging relationships you have with youth service centers. So again, this opportunity is really for people who are known by youth service centers or are beginning to develop those relationships with youth service centers.
Can you not assist an East End school that serves kids in those zip codes but is not on the list? So they might go to a East End school, but they live in those zip codes, I think is what the question is.
Sir or ma'am, I'm going to give you my email if you could reach out so I could discuss, I could figure out which high school or middle school you're talking about. It's gadn@cflouisville.org. If you can drop that in the chat, Donna.
I did.
Thank you so much.
And Gad, I'm gonna piggyback that again. The list of schools is not all inclusive. What's most important is the zip code that the school is located in or where the students live. So if the students that you're serving lives in one of those zip codes, you should apply. If the school that the students are attending is in one of those zip codes, you should apply. So it's really based on the zip codes more of what schools are on that list, because and Gad, you can speak to this a little bit. Gad pulled some of those schools as a reference point from data that was available on JCPS's website. So that list is not all inclusive, but the zip codes we gave, the school must either, the schools that you're working in must be in those zip codes, or the students that you're serving must live in those zip codes.
All right. This one might be another one that needs to go offline for some more explanation, but if a mentor is contracted by JCPS to do mentorship programs within their schools, would they be eligible to apply, or would that be a conflict of interest since they are a contracted employee of JCPS?
I agree with you, Donna. Sir or ma'am, unless Ramona, you have some more information. GADN at cflouisville.org. I'd love to dig in deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
You're very welcome to dig in deeper. I want to remind everyone that this opportunity is for established 501c3 organizations, or projects that are physically sponsored by 501c3. These are not grants to individuals.
Another one kind of similar, but maybe not. Suppose your organization mentor with the youth, but not through the youth service center. Does that make you eligible or maybe ineligible?
Rona, I'm going to kick this over to you.
I'm going to answer this by saying, would a youth service center coordinator know that you're doing the work in the school? If they know you're doing the work in that school, then when they got into a conversation about your application, and one of the questions in the application, I think, Gad, you can speak to this, one of the applications asks, how do you support a youth service center? Mm-hmm. So if your response to that question is very vague, it probably will not score exemplary or strong, so it probably will not make it very far in the consideration process. So I would think for yourselves, how well can you answer that question about how are you supporting youth service centers?
Okay. Would a partner who also sits on the school's FRYSC advisory council be ineligible to apply?
And by sit on the advisory council, are they a coordinator? I would, the person who asked the question, please, I would love for you to expound.
I would imagine if they have a nonprofit, no, they are a community partner that has programs that works with youth.
I would encourage them to apply.
If it's a nonprofit.
Yes.
Yeah, if it is a nonprofit, yeah. Let's see. 95% of the students we serve live in the zip codes mentioned. However, a lot of them are bused outside the zip codes listed. Would you encourage us still to apply?
95% of the kids you serve in that school live in the zip codes that's mentioned. Yes, I would encourage you to apply.
If my interactions are geared towards being a liaison between the international communities and schools, would I be eligible?
Absolutely.
Will there be additional funding available to continue working with the Youth Service Center for organizations awarded the CFL, and or will assistance in finding additional resources after the year is complete be available from CFL?
Ramona, can I kick this one over to you as well?
This is a one-year grant opportunity, so at the end of 1 year, this is not a renewable grant, so there will be just 1 year. We do have on our website a list of nonprofit resources. I encourage you to look at that page to possibly help you look at some other ways that you might be able to look for funding. The Center for Nonprofit Excellence, CNPE, offers several workshops and classes on helping nonprofit leaders develop strategies around generating funds. That is the link to CNPE is on that resource page. And we also, as a community foundation, we have several people who have charitable funds at our organization. One way, and those individuals decide for themselves how they use our grant out dollars to nonprofit organizations. We have a tool on the website called Candid Guide Star search tool. On that resource page, there is a link for you to learn how you can update your Candid Guide Star profile. I would encourage you to make sure that your profile is accurate so our fund holders can use that tool when they're looking for nonprofits or new nonprofits that they want to support with their charitable dollars.
And I did put a link to our resources page in the chat so they can just click right on it and go and see everything that you just talked about. And last question I'm seeing, the organizations that are awarded, will they go serve the current school or can they do any school?
Any school, like Ramona again reiterated, it is not tied to any program. This is unrestricted operating support to your nonprofit. We would love to see these funds used for you to expand your work and your mission.
Don, I see one more question. I think, can you partner with another nonprofit?
Just popped up, thanks.
Yes, you can. Ramona, please stop me if I'm speaking out of turn. I certainly, we want to see collaboration. One of the questions are, how did you use, what you gained from this to share with other nonprofits in your space? So yeah, we would certainly love to see, two nonprofits tag teaming this.
And it would be up to you when you're filling out that application with that other nonprofit leader, who is the lead on the application, because there's only space for one contact name versus two.
Any other questions, Donna?
I think we're good.
Well, thank you all once again for taking the time out of your busy schedules to chat with me, to chat with Donna, to chat with Ramona. Again, we so thank you for all the important work that you all do for our community, for our kiddos. If you have any other questions that arise after this, my email again is gadn@cflouisville.org. That said, thank you all once again. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.